Struggling with weight loss? Me too. I'm Alex, a personal trainer. Lost 70 pounds, gained some of it back, and now I'm starting my journey all over again. In this video, I'll share the steps I'm taking to start my journey again and how you can use these as well. First things first, set goals that are easy to achieve. Know that it's going to take longer than you think. We make things hard on ourselves. Fat loss is one of those things. That's why people can't make it past 2 weeks in their fitness journey. So the first thing to know is it's going to take longer than you think it's going to. Horrible news, I know. I'm sorry. But if you set out with this in mind, it will serve you along the journey. So things to think about first, you will lose fat fast at the beginning. This is usually water weight. This is why you hear crazy numbers like I lost 7 pounds in 5 days. You lost water, not fat. And the other thing to think about is you will have ups and downs. The scale does not just go down in a straight line. You will have peaks and troughs. Safe weight loss is normally 1 to 2 pounds of fat per week. If it's not your first 2 weeks and you're losing more than 2 pounds a week, you are eating into your muscle store. So like I just said earlier, the scale does not just drop in a straight line week on week. It's not going to be the exact same amount of fat that is lost every week. But when it does happen, and it will, you're either going to store where it's going down a lot and then it just flattens out for a week or two or a couple of days, and then it will start again. Just don't let it dictate how you're feeling. It's just data. Think about from now on collecting data. Every time we step on the scale, we just want to know what the number is. Oh, today it was this. It does not affect our emotion. If it's higher, it's just higher. That's what it is today. That's how you need to look at it. Break down your goal into small, manageable chunks. For example, if you have 50 pounds to lose, it's going to take you about a year. We're losing a pound a week. It's going to take you about a year to lose that weight. So that's 1 pound a week. So to lose that 1 pound a week, we need to be in a calorie deficit of 3,500 every single week, or 500 calories a day. So our deficit needs to be 500 calories a day. But this just makes it so simple. Do not overcomplicate this. This is what you need to do in order to get results. This is the foundation. Notice how it didn't include going to the gym for 2 hours every day, ice baths, meditation, yoga, what else? Fruit juice cleanses, diuretic tea, or whatever else stupid shit you see on Instagram. Look at your goals and review them. You need to make sure you're making progress. To do this, you need to track. I recommend every other week doing a review. By doing this, you're going to see the data and make changes if necessary. The stuff to include in the review would be your scale weight, body measurements, progress photos. If it's at the beginning, this will be your before picture. And the fourth thing, check your food diary to see what was going on. 2 weeks is a good indicator to see if it's working or not. If you're not seeing any results in a 2-week window, there's something wrong. There's a problem and you need to figure it out and sort it out. And the other side of the coin is if you are losing weight and you're a couple of pounds down in that 2-week period, then it's working. Carry on, keep doing it. So we need to know our starting point. If we're going to start the journey, where are we right now? First one and the easiest one, scale. The common way of measuring progress is of course the scale. So by this point, I've already alluded to it. You know the scale weight's not just going to go in a perfect straight line. It's not going to fall off you at a steady rate. Sometimes it's hard to deal with the spike and the stalls, especially when you're working so hard. Remember this, fat loss is just a phase. You're not going to stay in it forever. Some people think when they start something like this is how they're going to have to eat and live forever. Hit your goal weight and then you move on to a new goal. Know that every single day that you maintain your weight below your start weight is another day of progress. There's other ways of measuring, not just the scale. In fact, you don't even have to weigh yourself if you don't want to. It is not a requirement. And if the scale makes you miserable, stop weighing yourself immediately. Focus on other types of progress. Here are a few. How you feel. So how are you feeling? Are you more energetic? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel less pain when you're walking up the stairs? Do you walk up a hill? Are you out of breath, or are you feeling fitter? These are all tremendous markers of progress. So the next one is belt size. So Can you use a tighter knot? Good. That means you're losing fat, and this way tells us that you're losing fat even if the scale is saying otherwise. If the scale says you've added a pound but the weight and the belt notch is telling us that you've lost fat, then you've lost fat. Next is measurement. Similar to the belt, are your tape measurements going down as well? The best way of indicating fat loss would be your hip and waist measurement. Next are progress pictures. Do you see more definition in your progress picture? This is a good indication of fat loss. You will probably notice certain areas losing fat and certain areas are not. Whereas if we're just going on the scale weight, it doesn't tell us where the fat's coming off from. With progress pictures, you will know if you're on the right track. If you take one every other week, you're going to notice you becoming a smaller human. If, however, the scale weight's not budging and the pictures aren't changing, then something's wrong and you need to address it. Again, sometimes the scale may spike or stall, but if you're seeing progress in the pictures, then you are still making progress. Clothing sizes. If you notice clothes are feeling better, you're losing fat. Are your trousers looser? Do other clothes fit better? They fall off your body a bit better. If your clothes are fitting better, you've lost body fat. And the last point to consider when you're starting your journey and you want to find your sort of starting point is go and see a doctor. It's not for everyone, but some of you, and you probably know who you are already, you might want to consult with a doctor before starting any fitness journey. If you haven't exercised in a very long time, or you just generally have concerns about your fitness, then I would add to this, you may want to consult a physio if you're returning from injury or you're unsure about certain exercises and your current condition. We're in the kitchen. We need to plan our nutrition. This is the third part of starting your weight loss journey. So you may have heard the phrase, abs are made in the kitchen, not in the gym. Kind of true. Before we set out on our journey, we need to find out how many calories we need in order to lose fat. Find out how many calories you need. To lose fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. You need a certain amount of calories to function each day. If you eat under this calorie requirement, your body will use your fat stores as fuel. So that's what deficit is. Your body needs a certain amount of calories. You eat under that amount, your body needs it from somewhere else, and it's going to use your fat stores in order to give you energy so you can make it through the day. To work out your calorie deficit, you just need a simple equation. Multiply your goal weight in pounds by 12. For example, if you set 175 pounds as your goal weight and you multiply it by 12, you are left with 2,100. This means you can eat 2,100 calories and still lose fat in a sustainable calorie deficit. So how do you track your calories? This one is simple. It doesn't matter what app you use. Pick one and use it. I like to use MyFitnessPal. All you have to do is enter your food intake for the day. Most apps now have a barcode scanner, which are super helpful. Just scan the code and voila, your calories are correct. All you have to do is just make sure that the quantity is correct. For instance, if you had 100 grams of rice, but it says 300 in the scanner, you just have to change that and then the correct calories will appear. Top tip, if you use MyFitnessPal or another tracker and they recommend calories, do not use it. They will likely be too low. This is poor industry practice. They give you calories way too low, so you lose weight rapidly and you become addicted to the app. The first couple of weeks this is fine, but anything longer than 21 days, this is going to be probably a bad thing for your health and your metabolism. Pro tip, enter your calories the day before. At night, enter what you're going to eat the following day exactly. This way you make the best choices and you don't mess up because you're hungry. When we're hungry, we tend to overeat or pick things. We'll grab a chocolate bar or we'll make worse decisions because we're feeling a bit hungry. If we can make the decisions the day before, we know it's already pre-populated, and the next day all we do is follow the plan. I didn't really track food before my transformation. I had a rough idea how many calories were in certain foods, but some I had no idea, and some were a complete shock when I started tracking. By tracking, I can almost guarantee that you're eating something on the regular that you think is a certain amount of calories, but it's a lot higher. For example, I used to have a baguette that was about this big for lunch. In the pandemic, I thought the baguette was about 350 calories maximum. When I started tracking, the baguette was 850 calories. So I was having chicken, bacon, cheddar in this 850 calories. So it's already too big on its own for a meal. As you can imagine, I went mad and we never had that again. So with the tracking, it can be tough mentally thinking I need to be perfect, I need to hit this specific number. Don't worry too much about it. There are times where being 100% perfect just isn't gonna happen. So we're not aiming to be perfect with our nutrition. You are human, stuff's gonna pop up like birthdays, holidays, work dues, events, Christmas, and sometimes you're just gonna want a takeaway, or you want to go out for a nice meal. And when these things pop up, this is why the next point is so helpful. Let me introduce you to the 80-20 principle. In order to get results, you need to be consistent. You don't need to be 100% perfect. You only need to be 80% perfect in order to get results. This means you get 5 to 6 days a month where you can go a little bit over your calories or a lot and it doesn't impact results as much as you think. If, however, you do go on a mad binge for days and days and days and it's more than the 5 to 6 allowed days, then you ain't gonna get results. So have 5 as probably the max and reel it in if you're going over that. But this sort of backs up why tracking is good. Without this data, we're just guessing. So for instance, when I gained a load of weight during the pandemic, when I was eating that baguette, having that for my lunch, thinking it was like 500 calories maximum, it was probably 1,500 calories. So I was guessing there, I had no idea. With the data, we know exactly where we are. We know if we went over, we know how many days we went over, we can go back and check. This is why tracking is so good. We allow ourselves the wiggle room of the 80-20, but we are still tracking even on the days where we go over. So we know how many we went over. And basically, when you're in a calorie deficit, you can times by 7 and have your weekly allowance. So a lot of the times, if you go over your daily allowance, you're still under for the whole week. So remember, what gets measured gets managed. This is a business saying, but it's true when it comes to our diets as well. We're looking at the numbers, we're going to get results. And the last point about tracking is don't leave it to chance, because that's how we got fat in the first place. So to start a fat loss journey on the right foot, you need to set realistic goals, assess where you are right now and be truthful about it, and plan your nutrition. So this is just the beginning. If you want to see the 3 things that helped me lose 70 pounds in 6 months, click this video right here.